All right, we are live. This is Expedition to Castle Ravenloft Session 6. We are one man short this evening, but we forge on ahead. And when we last left the party, you guys burnt down the only church in town. 80s explosions, flying out the basement just before the fireball, and that led to you guys explaining yourselves to the town people, which you sold fairly well. And then you went into town. You spoke with the late burgomaster's daughter, asking about the various plot points that are still in front of you, the Sunsword, more questions about the infection, the missing icon of Ravenloft. Kenthis sat down to, because he was stenched, set out to find himself a place where he could sit down and study a couple of the books that you picked up. One of them was the Liber Blaspheme, which is a tattered fragment of a book, missing major portions of its content, and written in an infernal language, but contains many detailed drawings of human anatomy. Functionally, this acts as an equivalent to a flesh golem manual. This allows you to build a construct from the flesh of the dead. However, it's soaked with evil, essentially. You can't possibly build something that is strictly under your control. It's always going to be evil and corrupt, and in other ways, really, really bad.
Is there any mention of the creature's weaknesses or counterspell?
It tells you how to put them together, which implies that you could probably figure out how best to take them apart.
Okay.
So, if that situation comes up, we'll figure out exactly how that works then, if you don't mind.
Sure.
But this also, in 3rd edition terms, would give you the spells necessary in order to create the flesh golem. And so again, if it ever becomes important, we'll work out those details and figure out how we want that ritual to work.
Alright, I don't think we'll have to worry about me making a flesh column, so...
Are you sure?
Good.
Are you sure?
I make some poor choices, but that's kind of over a certain line.
All right. So, and you also have time to sit down and delve into the personal journal of Father Danovich, who had created the monster. And Father Danovich did lose his son, apparently to brigands, and his remains somewhat reduced in mass given to predation. Had been returned to him, and he just had a total break. He just went crazy. With grief, he couldn't handle it, and somehow he came across this blasphemous book, and he set about trying to resurrect his son by building a flesh golem out of him, because actual resurrection is outside of his powers as a cleric. And the result was the thing that you killed in the basement. However, there's no clue as to how this book came into his possession. He only speaks of discovering it in one day. And there are references to the castle library, but so far as you know, nobody in town really goes to the library. So, that's all you glean from that for the moment.
So we double killed his son? Or no, we never killed his son to begin with, I'm sorry. We killed so many people, I guess we kind of get lost in it.
Oh!
I don't know.
I mean, we're monsters, but we're not like double monsters.
we only kill the bad guys, come on.
Yeah.
We have standards.
Well, that as it may be. So you guys had been also referred to in the course of your investigations to talk with Madam Eva, who is the leader of the Vistani. It's a couple of days' travel to the camp, but Madam Eva is reported to have powers of divination that allows her to sometimes tell the future. And certainly some of the more desperate local people have swallowed their pride after mistreating the Vistani to pay hefty sums and have her find lost things or to sell cures and other curious powers that one might not normally admit to doing, especially when Father Danovich is around.
Well, if we do go to her, what are we going to ask her, I guess? What do you guys think we can get out of her?
Well, on one hand, we don't have to worry about Father Danovich being around anymore.
True.
I don't know. I mean, from what we gathered from the elves of Anil and Matthews and stuff like that, they seem to at least be able to travel between the area. So, I mean, if anything, maybe she's knowledgeable. I mean, from the information that we got from Irina, the burgomaster's daughter, I mean, maybe she just has more information about the area and what's really going on. Just
am I with you guys at this point? Like, because I know you guys were not with me. I was like camping out, and you guys were in the mansion.
Yeah, didn't you find like a house in town?
Yeah, I'm on the roof.
You're on the roof.
Up on the roof.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should meet up with Kenthis and kind of discuss where we want to go next.
Okay. Yeah. I agree.
Because if I'm with you guys, then I would suggest that maybe we bring the book and see if she knows where it might have come from. The blaspheme one.
Should we try to bring Irina with us since we're trying to be her bodyguards and protect her? Or do you feel like bringing her with us would be kind of like bringing her to potential danger? I mean, we can't protect her if we don't have her with us, but at the same time, if we're bringing her into danger, we're doing a really bad job being bodyguards, so...
I say if we take her into the wilderness, at least that creepy guy can't find her.
Potentially, yeah. What do you think, Ember? You're the professional bodyguard of the three of us.
It all depends on if she feels safer here without us or safer with us out in the open.
Right.
There is a certain, strength in it's not a fortress, but a known
Fortified manse.
Fortified mansion, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but we can ask her, and but yeah, if she does stay, I think she should stay put. But that said, I keep flip flopping here.
It's a tough call. I mean,
yeah,
there's pros and cons for
whoever
each.
came in and killed, or whoever came in and killed the father, probably could come in and get her too. So,
If I will say that if you do choose to take her with you for anything, I do have a monster stat block for her that I can, like in less than 2 minutes, give you the essentials of what you need to run her as an NPC on your own.
Okay.
It's okay, you can leave them.
I don't know. Just simply based on what you just said just now, Bryant, about how, I mean, you're 100% right. If something was able to get in here and kill her dad, no problem, and nobody found out about it while it was happening, somebody can get in here and get her super easy too. So I think we should bring her with us.
Yeah, or at least suggest it to her.
Yeah, at least suggest it. See what she has to say.
Since it looks like we're probably gonna end up bringing her, can I just ask, like, when we saw her, like, could we use that as an excuse to get a rundown of her attributes, like, sort of scrutinizing her abilities, maybe? Like, is she, like, really weak and gonna die if she gets tapped, or...
She had armor and a sword.
Yeah, she was heavily armored.
Okay.
She looked like she knew what she was doing, I thought.
Alright, then we're good. You're muted.
Cool.
All right, so sorry, I'm still finishing off my pie, so I just want lip smacking into the microphone. Is somebody ready to write her down and run her as an NPC?
Sure, I can jot her down real quick.
Okay, so she, as a monster, I statted her as a 2nd level troop.
Okay.
Which is like the standard. Her initiative is +3.
Okay.
She can attack with either a longsword or a crossbow. In either case, it's +7 against AC, dealing 7 damage. On a miss, the longsword deals 2 damage, assuming you're attacking with it. She has 36 hit points. Her armor class is 18. Her physical defense is 16. And her mental defense is 12. Give me just a second to plug in my headset. Okay, did you get all that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. She doesn't have any special abilities that you are aware of beyond that, but I'm not opposed to adding on to them. And if it's really necessary, I do have her statted up as a 2nd or 3rd level player character. But for just walking around, I figure that'll get you through. And say if Kenthis dies, you can just take her on. Just to come up with a name.
Yeah.
Well, I
If
took some of
anyone
the
here is gonna
NPCs. I took some of the NPCs and I made them as pre-gens just in case I wanted to run a shortened version as a con game or something. And
I put arena stats in the side chat bar too. I have it written down just in case, but it's up there just in case for some reason I blank or have a brain fart or something like that.
Awesome. All right. So
That's another thing we can ask the Vistani about is getting rid of this curse that we're putting on us.
The zombie sickness?
Yeah.
See if Madam Eva knows anything about that.
I think that's gone though. Didn't we? Aren't we on the heal from that? Like, isn't it half gone now or something?
you're talking about the zombie infection?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Cat wants that up. There you go, Cat. Alone at last. All right. I think I described as the fire in your bones dimming a bit, but as to whether it's truly gone or not, I don't think that I said that you were cured, did I?
I don't think that you said it was cured, but I think that you said we felt better because we got rid of
We felt less
sick, less
weary.
sick.
We felt less weary. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't feel like 100%, but we definitely felt better than we did before because we had taken care of whatever was going on at the church.
See, burning down churches solves problems.
Yeah, who knew? Who knew?
Kill it with fire!
As long as they're the wrong churches, you know?
Well, you're certainly not suffering from the full strength of the curse if it's still in place.
Okay.
You're not carrying any obvious illness in that regard. All right.
Well, I say we see if Irina, I'm assuming Irina, since you gave us the stats, is willing to come with us.
Yes.
Okay.
In her mind, taking action is better than sitting around, and if nothing else, it will take her mind off of her father.
Okay, cool.
All right. So, off to the Vistani. Travel is going to take a couple of days because of the distance. You'll have to follow the road west out of town, and it quickly turns to southwest as you cross the plain from Barovia, moving away from the forest and down towards the Ivlis River. There you cross the large bridge that crosses the river, and from the bridge you can see where the river stretches to the south towards the Slavich Woods. And as it approaches the woods, it becomes marshy and becomes a vast, wide, low marshland, dividing the woods in two, before running into the barrier of mist on the far side. And the river winds to the west and ducks between an arm of the forest, between the hills that are beyond you to the west. And the arena tells you that as you continue, the road will actually come around above the river to where it widens to a lake known as the Serre Pool. And the Vistani are said to be at the end of a track there on a clearing by the Serre Pool that they've taken as their own. So the first night that you spend out is spent on the plains near the edge of the Slavic woods to your south. And there's no camp spots or anything. People don't come out this way very often. In fact, the road is starting to be overgrown from the lack of use. In some places it fades to a little more than ruts and grassland. In other places the hard pack seems to be maintained, that nature has not quite reclaimed it yet. And it's one of these patches that you set up for camp for the evening, because it's fairly level and mostly free of the stones and such that would cause for an uncomfortable night's worth of sleep.
Before we fully set up, can I make a survivalist check to see if there's any suspicious tracks in the area?
Certainly.
Alright.
What's your background for that again?
Survivalist?
Okay. So what kind of beasts, in your opinion, would be a problem here?
The kind with rotting feet, bone-like appendages, that sort of deal. I'm basically making sure we're not going to get eaten in our tents.
What have we heard any other like animals or anything as we traveled? Because we've traveled through the forest when we entered the area, right? Any other just regular wildlife or anything?
Yeah.
Or I mean, I guess we
all
could, Arena would know, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, she doesn't notice anything out of the ordinary. It's not like
Okay.
she comes out this way, but she's seen maps, and she's been in the area around the village of Barovium. You can't imagine that there's anything terribly exotic around without her knowing. You always hear wolves in the distance. There's always seems to be a wolf around when you look for one. But there are also deer, rabbits, birds, without anything to startle them. The birds make quite a cacophony from the forest, and the variety of insects are something truly to behold. There's just all kinds of spectacular wildlife all around you, and it doesn't seem to be very intimidated by your passing.
So would you call this a wisdom check or an intelligence check to be added on?
Traditionally it's wisdom, and I really don't see anything to change that. So,
All right.
tell me your story. What you doing? I guess what I'm saying is how you're looking might be important here.
Sorry. Slight issue. Okay, I rolled a 7, so that gives me a total of 12. So I'm just, looking over the leaves, and I suppose based on my roll, getting bored halfway through, and
Well, rather than that, let us just say that the only thing that you find are the animal tracks that you might have expected to find. There's nothing out of the ordinary there to cause you alarm.
okay, yeah.
All right. So setting up camp doesn't propose any challenges to you. Is there anything that you'd like to do with your downtime for the evening? Probably not, because we just did a big,
Yeah.
huge downtime segment.
Did I finish that carving that I started last session, or no?
Who was it a carving of again?
I believe the priest, based on Ashland's description of him.
I would say it's going to take you a couple of days to finish a carving, unless you want to do it really rough.
I'll continue it now then. I'd prefer to
All right.
keep
I'll
going.
continue to build rapport with Irina. Chit-chatting.
Anything particular you want to speak to her about, or just...
Just try to give her religious comfort in her time of need.
Building rapport.
Irina seems to have a rather cynical view of religion. In fact, funny story, and she points to the west, because where you're at, you can look up. When you look north, the forest kind of envelops this large plains area that Barovia is on, and the river goes through. But it kind of pinches again up by the road at a point that you haven't reached yet. But beyond that, and to the north, you could see where there are hills that kind of rise up above the top of the forest. And the largest one, which is off to the north from where you are, is the castle. But there's another one that has ruins, a ruined tower like a broken crown on top of it, that isn't covered with trees. And that is almost dead west from where you are. And she says there used to be a monastery up there, and some of the most pious people of the Church of Ravenloft, the Church of Barovia, were there. And but a few hundred years ago, and she starts going into all these sordid the history of it with sorry, lost my thread there. With scandal and affairs and nobles who had been there to be good, and just eventually the tales just became more and more depraved and more difficult to believe, until finally there was a fire, and the last remains of that place, which had a very, very bad reputation at the end, despite the start of her story. And she says, ever since I read about that, I never really held faith with any god or religion, because it seems to me that no matter who we are, that we always carry the worst of with us, no matter how hard we try.
Heinrich nods. You're right. All the false churches do burn.
She looks at you side-eyed. Not just because you set the match? A pleasant evening spent in conversation.
Heinrich is smitten.
While they're talking, I'm going to be patrolling around, doing, checking tall grasses, checking behind rocks,
Bodyguarding.
checking behind trees, being super paranoid bodyguard, and just kind of making sure that there's nothing is around that I can stick a hammer into their heads.
And for that you get my favorite phrase in all of D&D, the night passes without incident.
So you're going to say your second favorite, roll initiative.
Yeah.
Then, as you progress west along the track, you come to a crossroads. And the crossroads exist where the Slavish woods encroach upon the hills in the west, and here the Barovians hang their criminals and then bury them in a small graveyard far from their homes. This grim spectacle of death and decay cows even the vibrant life of the forest, and a bad taste hangs in the air.
Well, seeing how the dead seem to come back to life around here, I suggest we skedaddle along and move through quickly.
I'm on board with this plan.
All right. So, moving on, here you take the right branch, which brings you north again towards the castle, or so it would seem. But by the late afternoon, you are arriving at the encampment of the Vistani. Between the river, the forest, and the hills is a large clearing where the Vistani make their camp. They live in a mishmash of wagons and tents sprawling all over the floodplain. The Evelys River widens here from a lake known as the Sare Pool, and in the distant west, you can hear the roar of the Sare Falls, although just barely, and only when the wind is right. So as you descend upon the camp, some of the Vistani, and most of them in brightly colored dress, but not all of them, look up from their campfires and their daily activities, and they see that you're coming. And some of the kids run deeper into the camp. And one of them, Matthews, whom you recognize, steps forward and asks you, "What business do you have here? Why do you come to the camp of the Vistani?"
Because I forgot why we came here.
We seek audience.
And then he takes a few steps back as he catches winds of Kenthis.
I'll stand a respectful distance away because I have a bad habit with my impressions.
I say that we seek audience with the Madam Eva, and hope I pronounced your name correctly in front of him.
And what is it that you wish of Madam Eva?
Guidance.
And he nods. And he nods then significantly to one of the other men who runs on ahead. And Matthew says, "Come, I'll take you to the madam."
Matthews?
Yes.
Oh, he's here?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He comes out to greet you, and apparently he has some station among the Vistani. That's just sent somebody else on ahead to speak with the madam about who you are and why you're here.
Okay. I missed that. I apologize.
That's fine.
Me brain no work good. Long week.
Yeah. School. All that.
Wait a minute. So is Matthews a Vistani? Is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess I knew that. I'm sorry. For some reason, I thought he was part of the village, but I guess not.
Now, at some point here, we're just going to have to get Kenthis some glasses, like a monocle or something. Or maybe he's just colorblind. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right. So, you're being led in by Matthews, and even though Kenthis stays several paces behind in order to help lessen his impact on their host, he leaves a wake of empty campfires and slamming doors for those that actually have access to wagons. And old ladies walk around with scented caches of oils and herbs, held up to their face. And the kids openly snigger and choke and make miming actions of dropping dead from the smell. And if you're watching this for the first time, Kenthis suffers from ghoul stench, which they have not successfully removed yet. But then they bring you to a larger than normal wagon. The wagon is scaled up for someone who stands half again as tall as most humanoids that you're aware of. And the door opens, and inside is a very close, what seems to be a very close living space for the giantess that you see inside. She looks like an old woman, but she stands, even hunched, 6 feet tall. And she's dressed... Well, she looks kind of like this. I don't know how well you can see that, guys, but it looks pretty good on my screen.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
can see it.
Yeah.
All right. Come in, she says. Matthews has told me how you've come to the aid of the villagers, and how you selflessly drove back the invasion of the dead. What brings you to my camp, and what would you know? To her credit, she does not react to the stench.
How
Although
respectful.
Matthews, before leaving, does open a few windows.
Well,
I'd
we were
say-
hoping to get some information about the. As you can see, we've brought along Irina here, and she's been troubled by the suitor from the castle, and we're wondering if the Vistani, being so well traveled, knew more about the inhabitants of the castle than the townspeople, because they seemed pretty useless as far as that was concerned.
And if I might add in, I'll present the book at this point and say, and if at all they're related to this, the Blaspheme tome.
Her hand wavers for a moment, and then she tells you, "Put that away."
I put it away.
He who dwells in Castle Ravenloft is a powerful man, whose enemy is light and whose powers are beyond mortality. And she sits down at this small round table, and she produces a lacquered deck of cards. They have elaborate hand-painted images on them. And she shuffles them, and she produces a card, and she taps it with her long claw of a nail. And she says, "You will seek him in the castle, though he might find you many times. You will only find him once." And she flips over another card to cover that one. Now, this is traditionally random, and I have drawn these cards in advance, so as to simplify the storytelling element here. But I still have to look up and read the entries as they come out. She says, "You will find him on his throne." And then she produces another card. And this one crosses the covering card. And she says, "The darkness seems to consume all light, and death to devour all warmth from the living. What else would you know?"
I think there's about as many straight answers as there are straight roads in this place. What is
Smiles
his
at that one.
what is his interest in the icon of Ravenloft? Because that seemed to have disappeared about the same time he was hanging around.
"Ah," she says, and shuffles the deck again. And she flips a card that is the priestess. And she taps it with her long claw of a fingernail and says, "Ah, the holy symbol of Ravenkind. This symbol is a powerful force for good, in protection against the forces of darkness." And she flips another card, which is the covering card. And to that she says, "If you would seek the symbol, you will find it in a place of death among the dead." And she flips another card that crosses the first. And to that she says, "But in order to use its power, you must bring it to the symbol's home to the last remaining shred of sacred ground in the defiled castle.
Oh, good thing it's not the church.
If you want to take it to church, there's only one game left in town. And doesn't she know it?
All right. It seems like pretty useful information. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to ask her, Heinrich, and I know Kenthis wanted to talk to
Yeah.
talk to her about
my certain problem. Yeah.
that not so fresh feeling.
So, Heinrich, did you have anything for her?
What other divination can you offer us in terms of guidance, fair madam?
That feels like cheating. That's such a broad question.
Indeed.
Indeed, she says, I have advice for many, and seldom what they would wish to hear. But if you come seeking prophecy, I may only answer what is asked of me.
The good paladin, what was her name?
Ashlyn.
Ashlyn. Spoke to us about a Sunsword, and she was just her and her friends were looking for it, and we think that might be useful against the powers of darkness. As my cohort here is a follower of the gods of sun and light.
Indeed. And her eyes sparkle, and her hands move with surprising dexterity as she shuffles and cuts the deck once again with her large clawed fingers. And out from the shuffle flies a card with the symbol of the sun painted in all of its bright glory in gilded gold, hand painted on the lacquered card. And she says, what you seek is a blade of light and a weapon for vengeance.
There you go, Heinrich. That's right up your alley.
All right. Tell me more.
And her eyes seem to glaze over as she trances and says, seek it in the place of blasphemy where humans plumb their darkest nature. And then she says, but the power in the sword sleeps.
It's in the tavern.
Okay, she specifically said where humans plumb their darkest nature. That sounds like what Arena just told us about that one chapel where people were in touch with, like, or always show their darkest side or their darkest nature or something like that.
A third card comes out as she continues her reading. And she says, but the sword's light sleeps. To wake it, you must bring the sword to join the ancient lore of the castle.
Not quite sure what that means. Oh, sure, we'll figure it out.
We'll wing it.
Yeah,
It'll be all right.
We'll burn some stuff down. It'll be fine.
We'll light the castle on fire. That's good enough.
Alright. And once she's done, she stands still for a moment and lets out a sigh, as if the very act of divining is one that invigorates her and brings her to life. And slowly the vitality drains out of her, and you didn't realize that she was sitting straight up again amongst the show and the dazzle. But then she diminishes, and she says, 3 questions you have asked and I have answered. And this we have done in gratitude for the service that you've provided to us here in Barovia. If you would know more, I am at your service. But from here on, we must negotiate the price, for nothing is free.
Alright. If she'll answer my question, I will offer her complete ownership. Well, never mind. I was gonna offer her the Blaspheme book so she could destroy it, but that might just offend her.
I mean, this lady's really nice and everything. She helped us out, but I don't quite feel comfortable giving her a book of pure evil.
Well, I feel like she would want it to be destroyed, but I guess that's not really a fair trade. Let's see. Because the main problem here is I still smell really bad, and if any of us die, I guess we'll come back to life. And I asked in the sidebar, when you talked about that waterfall, did you call it sacred? Or was it just a regular old waterfall?
The name of the waterfall and the name of the lake that the river widens into is Ser, T-S-E-R.
Okay.
And one of the stories that Irina would have told around the campfire is the story of a young lover who had, after missing his opportunity to be with a woman he loved, I think Romeo and Juliet sort of situation, tragically threw himself off of the bridge that leads to the castle and into the falls, which is what gave them his name. And that's why people refer to the falls and the lake by his name.
Okay.
But I understand Sarah might sound like sacred if I'm talking fast and mumbling, so.
Yes, I'm trying to think of something I can offer her that's of at least some value. The other book was the journal. I don't think she'd want that. The opal, that's kind of evil. I can't see her wanting that.
But then also the opal's super useful, so...
Yeah. That too, I guess. My wood carving knife, I'm not willing to give that up.
That's the most important thing.
I know, right?
It is a magic knife, if I recall.
It is. It has +1.
We could see what she wants. You know, you could ask her, and she can kind of
That's true.
tell us what she wants.
I eloquently ask her if there's a price for asking what she wants in return for her services.
All right.
Or will she give us that info for
She
free?
leans back for a moment and says, "The pup would have me name my own price." And she considers this.
Is there anything you need burned?
We're really good at that.
She leans forward suddenly and grabs you by the shoulders with her large and heavy hands. And as someone befitting her stature, her grip is terrific. You would not believe that such an old lady, albeit 1 6 feet tall, might have the strength to tear you limb from limb. And yet she holds you immobile and forces you to look into her eyes. And she stares deeply into them until all you see is black filling her eye sockets. And after a few moments of staring into your eyes, she releases and says, "I believe that you are an honorable man, and so I shall allow you to owe me a favor."
I'm sorry, but I can't hear what you're saying. Your internet, I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear it.
Can anybody else hear?
I heard
I
it
was-
just fine, yeah.
That's fine.
Okay, it was you.
Oh, it must be my internet. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I heard up to the
that
point where
whole
her eyes were turning
thing
black. I'm really
was
sorry.
her leaning in and staring through your eyes into your soul. And she suddenly releases you and says, "I believe that you are an honorable man, and I will allow you to owe me a favor. But I demand a token of some sort that when it's returned to you in my name, that you must do what I ask you to, with all haste, or consider yourself to be in breach of our contract."
Okay. Are we staying the night here?
It is very late in the afternoon. If you're not
Alright,
staying the night here, you'd probably be camping around those crossroads.
Alright, well, this place seems safer, but either way, I'll tell her that if you give me until the end of the day, I'll carve you a little token. Is that what she's implying? She wants something that belongs to me?
Yes, as a matter of
Kind
fact,
of.
that's exactly what she's implying. And so,
Okay.
something crafted from your own hands, no less. Oh,
Just to be clear,
well,
this
that
is
would
a
do just nicely.
this is a deal only with Kenthis, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. I want none of this.
Yeah, this is gonna come back to bite me eventually, I feel like. But, yeah. So I'll tell her I will carve you a token tonight if you'll answer my questions now. Your, what's a respectful term for,
Your Eminence.
your,
Your madamness.
that one, yeah. So that's
For this
my offer.
token, you may ask 3 questions, or
Oh, whoa.
I may cure your curse for you.
Ask her on a date.
All of our curses. I asked her if she could cure all of our curses, or if it's a one per.
This is the deal from me to you. I can cure the curse that you carry. The stench I can cure.
Okay. So it's between that or getting 3 questions. Do you guys have anything really pressing, or would it make more sense for me to get rid of this while we can?
It's your call.
Right.
It's your
This
call.
is my
I mean,
is my issue.
Yeah. I mean,
guess.
you did find some benefit from the stench, but I mean, at the same
Right.
time, like, you also want to get rid of it. So
Yeah, I don't think the benefit's worth it. So, yeah, I'll say that it's a deal. I would like to get rid of my curse.
All right. She says, "You two," and she points to Heinrich and to Ember, and says, "You may wait outside. Matthews will see to it that you have a bedroll and that you will be fed and safe for the evening."
why does Arena get to watch?
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yes, she also includes Irina with that.
Okay.
Irina, in fact, did not come in with you.
Oh, okay.
She waited outdoors, and certainly she is there pointedly not talking to Matthews as you exit the wagon.
Did this guy say something to you?
Hey, yeah, what's up with that? We've had run-ins with this dude before.
You mean the one where
As a matter of fact,
looking for
no,
help
he
and we
hasn't
tied
said
him up?
anything at all. And she actually manages to sound cross when she says that.
Uh-oh.
Is this like high school flirting, or like you upset about that? Like, I passed him a note and he didn't do anything.
And with that, she clams up.
From what I've seen, the less
Heinrich
said
will
by
notice as you walk away that Matthews does sneak glances at her from now and again, while she very pointedly decides not to look in his direction ever. And how she can manage that without looking at him to see where he is a total mystery, and a skill that you could never learn. All right.
Well, as long as he's not dangerous, I think we're all right with that.
Kenthis spends the night in Madam Eva's wagon.
Oh boy.
And throughout the evening, you can hear chanting. You can smell incense through the open windows, and the ringing of bells, and all sorts of things going on late into the night. Until in the morning, Kenthis stumbles out, exhausted, but smelling like the incense that is inside of the that had welled out of the wagon all evening. Quite heavily of it. And Madam Eva then speaks to one of the gentlemen that seems to always be in attendance out near the door. And she closes the windows, closes the door, and he moves in front of the door as if his very presence is to say, "Do not disturb."
Alright.
So, you have your answers, and Kenthis has been cleansed of the stench. What did you carve her?
I will carve her a small disc with a squiggly line along the bottom, or I suppose whatever it is that you would like to be the universal sign for a ley line, if such a thing exists, and a lightning bolt above that, because that's sort of like my one unique thing.
Alright. So I have a circle with a cross in it, but it's a very off-center cross. So, like, the lines come together in a low corner on either the right or the left.
Sure.
And the fattest area that's open is your lightning bolt.
Perfect. I like it.
And this being your personal symbol. And with that carved and your mark upon the back, whatever it is that represents your name.
Okay.
As she accepts it from you, her hand darts out for a moment, and one of her claws actually draws a thin rivulet of blood that splashes onto the token, which she then wraps
From
up
my hand?
from your hand, which she wraps up into an oilcloth, and she stows safely into a pouch. She
That's
says,
blood
"It's done."
magic.
That
That's
was
blood magic.
terribly rude.
Would you like
Heresy.
to argue with her?
Oh no, that was
Heresy.
out of character, 100% out of character.
It sounds like you might have to take Heinrich out of there before there's another burning.
Her cart was made out of wood. We got all we needed out of her. Burn the whole camp down.
So, bargain struck, Matthews will escort you out of camp. Once again, stealing glances at Irina, who pointedly it never seems to be looking in his direction at any given time.
I will subtly ask, "Hey Matthew, so how do you feel about blood magic?" As he's escorting us out of camp.
And it's like this is coming from left field out of nowhere, and he's like, "What?
Yeah, blood magic.
What?
Good, bad things. You know, I'm just trying to
I
get
don't
a
know
general
anything about
census.
magic. Why are you asking me? You had 3 questions with the madam. Why didn't you ask her?"
I just am trying to get the layperson's opinion about blood magic.
Hey Matthews, are you into Nazism?
How do you feel about this controversial subject, Matthew?
Yeah. Matthews, of course, had seen the transaction that transpired between Kenthis and the Madam Eva, and he says, "Whatever the deal is between the two of them, that is not for me to question. I got nothing to say on this subject. I'm not sticking my nose into nothing."
You seem real defensive. Just asking you a simple opinion question, buddy.
Yes, the last person who had an opinion about how Madam Eva ran things in that camp, and he shudders.
I'll butt in at this point and just sort of like make up that it's all right, Heinrich. In my land, it's customary to seal oaths with blood, and there's no magic involved. It's fine.
Yeah, you're lying.
So, Matthews brings you to the edge of the clearing where the road picks up again, and says, "You came to us in peace, leave in peace, and until we meet again in good health. This is you're a friend to the Vistani, and we remember our friends."
Yeah, it's good. That might let it help us get out of here eventually.
Yeah.
Through the mists again.
I say to him, may he burn forever in the light of the sun. No. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
That's a good thing, Matthew.
No. It's a good thing. It's what's friends say.
He looks at you queerly before turning around, and he takes several steps and looks around again and lets you and then just waves and walks off. And the reserved Vistani start going about their business again in a manner more lively than you've seen during the time that you spent in their camp. And
Before Matthews... Oh, sorry. Okay.
Go ahead.
Before Matthews leaves our site, can I run after him and ask him a quick question?
Certainly.
All right. I start off with, "Hey man, what's the deal with you and Irina?" Normally I wouldn't ask, but it might be important to her safety. I just really want to know.
The burgomaster's daughter has nothing to fear from someone of my station. I would be more concerned about the young gentleman that's come down from the castle in recent weeks to woo her. And he looks sullen.
What do you know about this man of the castle? Did you meet him?
I have not, but the rumor is that he is the Baron's son, or perhaps even the Baron himself, though no one has seen anyone from that line in a generation. If he is indeed the Baron's son, it must be an uncanny resemblance to get the talk that I have heard. The old Baron was a real bastard of a noble, and he used to be responsible for all kinds of cruelty among the people in Barovia. They don't like to speak of it, but when they do, they have nothing nice to say about the Baron of the Ravenloft Castle.
Alright, well, if you ever want to talk about you and Irina, my door's always open. And then I'll run off towards my group.
And again, he looks after you like, who does that?
We are the weirdest group of people walking around Barovia.
Yeah, no kidding.
One guy who told me to burn, I don't know, and then Bob was friendly. This other guy's trying to get to my personal business.
So the walk back appears to be just as uneventful as the trip in. And when you come across the same bare patch of road that you camped on the way in, it seems as good a place as any to stop for the night.
We kind of got lazy with it last night, but maybe we should set up a guard on rotation.
I kind of assumed that that's what was going on with Ember a little bit.
Okay.
And at some point you guys would have switched out, perhaps?
Where are we even headed at this point, other than outside?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I
okay.
was gonna say, do we want to head towards? Unfortunately, I don't remember if Ashlyn said that her friends were going, if they had a lead on where the sun.
We didn't get a chance to talk to her because she was in mourning, if you recall.
Right.
And she was going to be in mourning for a few days, and that's why we went and chatted up Irina instead.
It seems that your best lead has come from Madam Eva's reading.
Yeah. Because Irina had mentioned that old monastery being a place where humans' darkest nature, and then Madam Eva's mention of the Sunsword being somewhere there. To me, that seems similar.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good. I mean, because I think Your god of the fire and light and sun would be pretty happy with you throwing that thing around.
I could kill so many heretics.
You looked a little too happy when you said
It
that.
would burn, and it would be awesome.
Either way, no matter where we decide to go, unless we do need to go back to the town, I wouldn't stop back there, because that way at least the trail stays cold for anyone looking for Irina.
Right, yeah, that's true. At least
I don't think anyone knows where we are, right?
Right, we could go to the monastery and then double back to the village after that potentially, and that way we're not like doubling back on the same trail, and we're kind of doing like a triangle pattern, and so that way if anybody is legitimately following us, they're having to follow behind us, you know.
I just
Ideally.
without moving from my spot, lost the card where I had. Oh no, there it is. Where I had the readings on. So, all right, got it. All right. So, what would you like to pursue at this point? You have a lead for the icon. You have a lead for the sword. Any other potential plot hooks that we could do here?
I don't really feel like investigating the infection. We don't really have anything to go on that.
I don't plan on dying, like.
Yeah, I don't have any plans for it either.
It seems like it only hurts us if we die, so never gonna hurt us, right?
And the big, the big plot point is the suitor, and that seems to be tied to the icon. So, and that seems to be pointing to the castle. But it may be wise to kind of do all we can or get all the information we can before we do that. So,
and from the readings that you got from Madam Eva, that you have at least one other reason to be in the castle after you have the sword in hand or the icon in hand, depending on how you interpret the clues.
Right.
Well, the icon, definitely, because she said that you had to take it to the last secret place in there.
I am curious about so the holy symbol of Ravenkind / the icon, it said we'd find it in the place of death among dead.
Didn't we just pass a graveyard?
Well, that was a graveyard, but also like the chapel we were at outside of the village, was a graveyard and it was filled with death, and then we burned it down. So if it's there, we're screwed.
Yeah, I don't think it's there though, because I don't know. I feel like she would say, I don't know, something different, because it's no longer double death. It's just death and ashes.
Right, yeah.
Maybe she means the castle. Well, I probably wouldn't know that in character, but
yeah, I can't think of any other place of death like that we've encountered thus far, at the very least.
I would say the Sunsword sounds like a good lead, and no matter what we do, it's always handy for you to be able to burn more heretics.
Yes.
Like at no point will the sword be like not useful.
Never will that get old. Never.
With that.
Yeah, I think the monastery is probably our best lead. If y'all are down.
Yep, I'm down.
To the monastery.
Is Irina down? Did she care at all? Or?
That sounds good.
Well, despite her fireside telling of ghost stories the other evening, clearly the tale of the monastery must have been affecting her, because the moment that you guys suggest actually going there, she shows some signs of hesitation. And she says, some people do go there on a dare, and of course the word is, some people never come back. But of course my father would have never allowed Ismark or myself to do any such thing. So all I can tell you are the rumors. And what the other children say when when they try to impress me by trying to scare me.
Well, I'm sure you're well up to the task, as long as you're with
a group.
As long as we're with a group, and I assure you, we're far more than just some people.
We are expert arsonists and general debauchery.
We haven't debauched. We've just defiled.
Yeah.
So if she's willing, I think that's where we're headed.
Okay. Very well then. So when you wend your way through away from the encampment through the hill, and you come back to the crossroads, rather than taking you to the east again, back the way that you had come before, you instead take the other fork on the road. And this instead will bring you further west. And as you travel further west, I'm going to hold this up here again. You see the marking that says Lysagia Hill?
On the left.
So you could see the Sarah Pool, and the road that leads away towards it, away from it.
Oh, it's the number 1, right?
The crossroads. Maybe. I can't read it backwards from here.
That makes
But
sense.
you see the road leading away from the pool, and it comes to a crossroads where, yes, there's an indexing number there. And then if you go towards the top of the page, you see how it loops around the spur and then goes back between the woods in this winding path up near the top of the page.
Yeah.
And what's in the top corner of the page there, away from the river, towards the edge of the page, is the hill in question. So you can actually get to the top of it much sooner than later, but you have to climb treacherous cliffs. If you decide to go further towards the top of the page, where there's less of a climb, but you're going through the forest, it'll be easier to get up there, but you're also talking a longer journey where you're going to be spending a night in the woods. Either way, given the amount of time it's going to take to get to the top of the hill, your choice is really between the woods or staying on the hill itself in a reportedly haunted area.
And there's no marsh between there, right? There's no marsh in our way. It's just hills.
No, the marsh,
Somewhere else.
if you were to follow the river down to the bottom of the page, you see the Sarah Pool near the top of the screen, and it goes all the way down under the bridge past Barovia, and then it becomes a marsh towards the bottom.
Okay. I'm okay with camping out on the hill, but I'm also getting hints from our illustrious dungeon master that that's not a good idea. So
What? I never said that. No.
You didn't have to.
I mean, we do have turn undead.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. Okay.
Well, actually.
Well, once we get there, we'll have a sort of killing.
Well, I can use my holy symbol and get us back turn undead. No big deal.
I'm not a great climber.
Natural sprinter.
Ember only worked out his lower body. He totally neglected the upper body.
I never skipped leg day. I just every day was leg day. That's part of it. Yeah, I can get along pretty good running with these boots, but they don't help me climb that much, and I do have pretty heavy armor, and I don't
do we have
bounce
rope
too
on
well.
us? One of us must have rope.
I do have 50 foot of good rope.
I mean, are we climbing like cliffs, or is this just sort of like a steep incline?
If you're going to climb up from where the road is closest to it without swirling around first, I see 50-foot climb, a 500-foot climb, and a 1,000-foot climb.
Ooh.
Why don't we just follow the road?
If you follow the road around and you come up through the woods, you'll have a gentler slope, and you'll only have to climb about 1,000 feet from there, but it's going to be a slope rather than climbing a cliff.
How much longer would that take in comparison?
You're going to be spending the night in the woods instead.
I do have Dragon's Leap and the Survivalist background, which could potentially help me climb. So if I were to go up with the rope...
Didn't you
I
say
could
one
toss
of them
it
was 1,000 feet?
Yeah.
Is that one a cliff?
I have 50 feet of rope.
Oh, that's 1,000-foot cliff? Never mind. No deal.
I say we go through the woods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I think we'd all die trying to climb that. Come on, Arita, we can almost...
No one will follow us.
All right. As the day grows old and the sun's rays are long on the hills, the forest grows close against the road, as do the hills, and you're walking through the bottom of a valley, so to speak. And if you don't make camp soon, it's going to be almost too dark to do it because you can't actually see the sun for a sunset. It's going to get darker earlier here under the canopy.
Do we think we'll be able to make it? I know, I'm fit, but do you think we'd be able to make it up the hill tomorrow if we camp by the road?
That would be a reasonable assumption, yes. You could probably be up at the top of the hill in the late morning.
It's probably safer to camp by the road, too.
Yeah.
Well, potentially, yeah. I'd rather camp by the road anyways, rather than deep in the wood. Who knows what's in there? Wolves.
Well, wolves are ever present in the background at night and late afternoon, sometimes in the morning.
Have we seen any travelers on the road since we've been out traveling?
No, you haven't.
Okay. Yeah.
Could I suggest we institute while we're near this highly suspicious area, we institute a double watch where we stagger it so that 2 people are always on watch, but we're only losing like a little bit more sleep?
Well, you have 4 people, so you could work out something like that pretty easily.
Like 2 people sleep at once, then 1 person on the watch gets somebody, wait another half hour, then the person who's been on longest goes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
Because I don't know.
All right.
Someone gets grabbed from behind.
Overlapping
Back
shifts, then.
Yeah.
Regards.
So, into the dead of the night, when I'm going to say Ember is 1, Kenthis is 2, Heinrich is 3, and Irina is 4.
Does one of us have a particularly...
Kenthis are on watch.
I was just wondering if one of us would have a particularly uneventful night, but it looks like something would happen.
So Ember and Kenthis are on watch. When? Let me find the encounter here. Because I had one in mind. Ah, now I know where it is. Just a second. The stats are in 2 different places, which is why it's taking me a moment to find them. The leaves in the upper part of the trees seem to glow with a soft purplish light. And the lights seem to dance up in the canopy of the trees above your head.
That's not good.
And every now and then, one of them seems to swoop low. And then, before you can see anything about what's causing the light, it swoops back up again. You
Are there
guys are
any
all level
rocks on the
4
ground?
still, right? You guys are all level 4 still, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay, do you mind if I pick up a rock and throw it?
What?
Experimentally?
Guys, put out the light. I'm trying to sleep.
Heinrich,
No,
I don't know if your god is coming calling for us, but there's something weird going on over here.
Okay, whatever. I'll get it on my shift.
Alright, I won't throw it yet, but I've definitely picked up a rock at this point.
Alright. In just a second. Let me fix that. J9. Getting my encounter calculator here. So, what if I take that and I bump them up to this?
I don't think you should bump them up at all. Down.
Oh, I didn't have this one pre-calculated, so I'm just spitballing it here. Much better. Alright, so you guys are level 4, so I'm gonna bump these up to B. This is one of the things that I like about 13th Age. Even though I've got a base for all this stuff, I can just decide that I'm going to run it at a higher level, and I just have to pull out the right chart, of which there are only 2 pages and 4 charts, and say, instead of this, I'm going to do that. And so these guys, their attack is going to change from... Really? That was it? Pardon me for a second while I finish calculating this. It's going to be... And so that gives them... Okay. And I'm going to reduce that to that. Awesome. Alright, thank you for bearing with me. Alright, so several of these lights are dancing around, and you're going to take a rock and throw it at one of them? Is that
No,
what we're going to do?
I prepared a rock just in case I felt the need to throw it after thinking it through a little better. Because maybe they're like helpful fairies or something, and we just have to believe. I'm not sure yet.
The pattern of the floating lights changes rapidly and becomes a rapid swirl of color and this eerie moaning sound that almost rises to a low-level shriek. And then suddenly, these fast-moving colored objects start bouncing down into your level of view. And as you spin around and try and catch one of them to see them clearly, you come across what appears to be a decapitated head with bestial features flying up into your face with pursed lips. What do you do with that rock?
I know what these
Okay,
are,
alright, wait.
and that's awesome.
I just want to make sure I fully understand this. The lights are surrounding us
Yes.
in a spiral, and a decapitated head is floating in front of me with horrible, disturbing lips, and I'm holding a rock.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye, Kenthis.
2, 1.
Alright, I'm gonna do a Echoing Thunder. Or do I have to roll initiative for that?
No, you could do that and then we'll roll initiative.
Okay, yeah, I'm definitely more than willing to cast a spell.
I'm moved over towards Irina to make sure the old bodyguard instincts kicked in and.
Alright, so I roll, and I'm targeting this on the head, I guess. Is that how it works?
Generally
I'm feeling
speaking, if you want
a little
to
overwhelmed.
for it, yes. What was your-
Okay, I have not rolled yet. I am doing so now. It is a charisma plus level. Alright, 13 plus 17 plus... that is a 24 versus physical defense.
24, you say?
Yep.
Oh, that's a hit.
Yes. Alright, first hit, I think. Full campaign.
All right. So if you're using a rock, I would say you're probably only dealing.
Oh no, that's echoing.
No,
thunder.
your spell. Okay, so what's your damage on your spell?
That is a 5. No, because it's still a 3rd level spell for me, correct? Yes, it is. Okay.
Unless you memorize it at a higher level slot.
I did not. So it's 3d6 damage plus charisma. So I'll roll that now.
Yes, definitely.
7. That is 14. And
14?
Yeah, and if I get hit later on, then it'll take aftershock damage.
All right. So it takes a hit as the wave of thunder rolls over it, and it tumbles chin over scalp. And you see the chin's got these little waggly things that just kind of flutter there, and its ears, which have grown out to these great proportions, flap as if trying to regain equilibrium as it tumbles through the air, which it eventually does before it slams into a tree, and then it comes right back at you. Everybody gets to roll for initiative, which I've already done.
That is disgusting.
It just wants a kiss. No big deal.
Pucker up.
I assume that I'm spot on.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Initiative, people. Ember, what's your
21 in the sidebar.
21 for you? Oh, duh. All right, and then 13 for John, and 26 for Pierce.
Do you want me to roll for Arena?
Yes, please. Or you could just have her go after you on your initiative,
Works for me.
since you're running her. All right, so, wow, Kenthis is last. All right, Heinrich.
Surprising.
These things are everywhere, and I believe you were rolled over.
I was sleeping, yeah.
Yeah.
They were on watch.
You wake up with one like a quarter-inch from your face, looming
jeez.
in.
Well, luckily I slept with my sword on the ground near me, so I grab it still on the ground and just swing wildly at this weird earwing thing kissing at me.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just do that. And while I do that, I curse and invoke the name of the secret name of the Temple of the Blazing Sun that we have for our god, and it summon its fiery strength to help me hit and destroy this Vargul.
Ah, a smite.
Yeah. Does 25 hit?
Oh, yes.
60 damage.
60.
Wow.
Yeah, I tapped my free once per battle plus 48 damage to one target I hit with melee. That's my invocation of.
Let me go here before you go any further.
Okay.
You should know these are mooks.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so if you want to just make that flavor instead of actually tapping it,
Okay.
and that way you're not using up precious resources on like the foot soldiers.
Oh, it's an encounter power, anyways. So.
Okay, so you're
That's
still
awesome.
happy with that?
Sure. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So.
Despite being mooks, these guys fly fast and free all around you. They don't really clump together for melee attacks to take out more than one the way that you would with zombies.
Okay.
So the rollover damage may not necessarily work here.
Okay.
Alright. So, Heinrich spears one on the tip of his sword. What does Arena do?
Vargles, I hate Vargles. Arena, she was asleep too, I guess. So she wakes up next to old Ember there. Ember, what do you think she would do? Go for the sword or go for a crossbow?
There we go. I'm thinking maybe crossbow since there's they're flying all around us.
Yeah, I like crossbow too. That seems good. So
I'm liking the picture of one with a bolt in it.
yeah. She grabs her crossbow, which she had conveniently placed nearby her, with a bolt loaded, and just rolls over and fires wildly at one.
Alright, take a swing. Pull the trigger.
Gets a 19 versus AC.
Miss.
Oh.
Bolt flies wide.
On a miss, 2 damage. Or no, that's with longsword. Never mind.
Yep. Alright. So, after that, Ember goes. Show him how it's done.
I'm gonna wind up and take a swing with my hammer. Hopefully, crush one of these things like a coconut. Not with a 2, I'm not. Let's see, that was a 2, so it's even. I'm guessing that a 11 misses on AC. But
yes, that would.
If it's a 2, I can do something. Sorry about that.
It's alright. You don't miss often. It's understandable you'd have to look something up.
So I'm just going to brace for an attack. Basically, if there's a critical against me, it becomes a normal hit. So I miss, but I kind of put my back towards Arena and make sure she's kind of guarded and get ready and kind of eye up the next ones for my next swing.
Alright, now, do you deal miss damage on a melee attack? I believe that you might.
Yes, I do. Actually, I do. I do.
So it's 4. Equal to your level, probably?
Yeah, I do 4. Sorry, I always forget that. So I do 4 damage, so I kind of glance off of it.
Duly noted. Alright, so, after that, the Vargwheels go. Or so it's been told to me that they're pronounced Vargwheel. Alright, so the swirling heads come to a pause in the midair as one of them cracks open its jaws and emits this scream that seems to be not of this earth. One of you is excluded from this close attack. Using the same numbering system as I did before, Ember is immune. And
actually, since I'm being kind of doing my bodyguard thing, could I somehow use that to protect Irina from it and take it?
Certainly, you could take her place. So Irina is unaffected by this, but the rest of you get attacks against you. We'll start with Ember. That's 22 against. 28 against mental defense.
That hits.
And Kenthis, that's a 20 against mental defense.
That is almost certainly a hit. Yeah.
And against Heinrich, an 18 against mental defense.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. So, You are stunned until the start of your next turn.
So I got
Stunned
-2.
means, and this is where I may have gone a little too far. You take a -4 penalty to defenses, and you may not take any actions. And this is why their attack was low. Alright. Give me a second while I adjust this downward again.
Does that count as hitting me with a... Sorry, let me check my spell. No, that's not a melee attack.
Yeah, we started at 8:30, so we're playing till 10:30.
Are you recording?
Yes. Hold on a second, guys. While he's looking that up, I just gotta help administer some medicine to the cat.
Sure. So did he say we were taking damage from these guys, as well as being stunned?
I think it just stunned us.
Yeah, I think.
Alright, sorry about that. You all set? What happened?
Oh, me? No, it only works on a melee attack. And I assumed that was not a melee attack.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Oh, I'm sorry, you were waiting on me. Yes, I just had to adjust the attacks down because what follows is kind of nasty. So, the Varguils sweep in, and there's 2 for each of you at the start. Ember, be aware that interrupt me when stuff attacks Irina, who I'll resolve last. Against you up front, we have a 13 and a 23 against your armor class. Remember, you're at -4 right now.
13 misses, 23 does hit.
Okay, take 10 damage, and you are poisoned.
Ooh.
And Kenthis, a 14 and a 21 against your armor class.
1 hit. And
All
that
right.
one takes 2d6 thunder damage.
Really?
Yes, from the aftershock.
Alright. Well, you both take, oh yes, that's correct. So you also take 10 and you are poisoned,
Okay.
but the aftershock takes out one of them.
Oh, cool. So I don't even have to roll the damage? It's all...
No, you still take the damage from the bite.
Oh, no, I mean I don't have to roll the damage from my aftershock thing.
No, that one was low enough.
Cool.
Alright. Heinrich. Ooh, a miss. And a miss. I doubt 11's going to hit you. And against Irina, we have a 14 and a 24, but she wasn't stunned.
And this is against her physical, is that right?
No, her armor class.
Yeah, the 14 will miss, but the 24 will hit.
She also takes 10 damage and is poisoned. Okay. So then, Kenthis, what up?
If I heard correctly, I can't do actions, but I could I yell at them impressively?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you could do something quite like that.
Alright, I wave my staff, and as I attempt to regain my balance, I just scream obscenities at these flying skulls that have upset me so badly.
Alright. So, then, now you're clear at the end of the turn, and we come back up to the front, and the escalation die is now at a 1. Heinrich.
How long does being stunned last for?
Until the... What did I say? It was the end or beginning of your turn. I did just have it. Oh. Oh, until the start of their next turn. So I'm sorry, Kenthis had an action.
Oh, alright. Well, then I'm not going to yell impressively, as much fun as that was.
It's not that impressive.
No. I'm going to cast Lightning Fork.
Oh, that's how it took some of the bite out of this. Okay.
Alright.
No pun intended.
21 versus physical defense.
That's a hit.
Alright. And that deals 3d6 damage. Yes, 3d6. Or no, I'm sorry, 7d6, because it's a 3rd level spell. Do I need to roll, or these are mooks, right? Or is that not how it works?
Yes, they are. At 76, if you just want to take the average, yeah, that would take it out.
Alright, I'll take the average.
Okay.
And because I rolled a 14, which is natural even, I believe with chain spells, I get to attack again.
Okay.
Yes, I can keep rolling. Alright, I got a 19 natural, which is definitely a hit. But I have a feat under Lightning Fork that lets me re-roll. So I'm going to do that in hopes of getting an even number. Alright, I got a 6 plus.
Greedy.
Yeah. The total comes out to 13, which is not a hit.
No, it is not. Alright, 3 of these things have been downed. Several more still, about half a dozen, are still floating about your heads, making passes at you. Now the escalation die is 1. Now Heinrich gets to go.
Okay, so I'm no longer stunned, correct?
That is correct.
Alright. I will crazily... how's everybody feeling in terms of health and things of that nature?
I'm good.
Yeah,
You good?
I'm fine.
Just
Okay.
above half, so.
Okay. Well then I will take my sword and swing wildly at these crazy, bodiless, winged-eared things.
While yelling impressively.
While yelling impressively, of course. Goes without saying. Let's see. Hold on. A 17 versus AC is probably going to miss.
Yes, it is.
Alright, well, 5 damage on a miss then.
Alright. Okay, and what about Irina? What does she do?
She's going to try to peg one. She's going to try to stay behind old Ember here, and ducking behind his impressive physique, try to peg one with her crossbow.
Alright, take a pull.
And... Alright, come on, dice roller, do something for me. Ooh, nope. She doesn't do anything. Another bull just lost in the woods forever.
Alright. So now we're up. Ember.
Okay, I'll take another swing at one of these nasty things. Oh, that may hit 21 versus AC.
Alright, that is a hit.
Okay, I will... I'm going to use my carven opening to double my crit range for next time, and I am doing a lot of damage. 29 damage.
Alright, take one out. Boom. And you said you double your crit for the next swing?
Yeah. Double my crit range.
Alright.
Or, sorry, it adds 2 to the crit range. I guess it doesn't double, it adds 2.
No, it's better.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, they go. And there's still enough for 2 on each of you. So, well, none for Irina. Not anymore. But I assume if Ember's actively trying to dodge her, that he's going to try and take the 2 on her.
Right.
So, the lower of those 2 is an 18.
That's a miss.
Alright, the other's a 26.
That's a hit.
Take 10, and you are still poisoned. And on Kenthis, the lower's a 13, the upper's a 20.
20 definitely hits.
10 damage and poison.
Does that stack?
No, it does not. I'm just reminding you that it's there. Alright, and against Heinrich, 2 hits, 25 and 27.
Yes, both indeed hit.
20 points of damage total.
I am staggered. And I'm poisoned, is that correct?
Yes.
Alright. I mean, boo, poison.
Alright.
So is poison something that affects us right now, or is that something that we're just making note of for later?
You're making note of for later. I'll let you know when it's relevant.
Sounds good.
Okay. Another long-lasting curse thing.
Speaking of which, you're up.
Got a neck ache.
I think I spent my favor too early. I will do a scorching ray.
Alright. I will tell you the poison is not magical in nature.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure I missed because I got a 6 plus 7, so no, that's it.
That would be a miss. Alright. As long as we keep things hopping, escalation die is now 2. And we're up to the top with Heinrich.
Alright, let's see if I can swing wildly with my greatsword and maybe be effective this time.
Maybe not so wildly.
maybe with clear focus and plan. 25.
Oh, that's a hit.
25 points of damage also.
Bam. Down goes another one.
Alright. Irina, again, ducking and weaving behind Ember, is going to attempt to shoot one with her crossbow. And... natural 1.
Alright.
Who's standing next to her again?
Ember.
Irina's bolt flies wide and thunks into a tree. And next to the tree, where the bolt hits, you see a tall, grim figure. A pale man with shaggy hair and hard-used leather armor and a great bastard sword in his hand. And he laughs at the chaos in your midst. Ember.
Well, he's too far away for me to give a damn right now, so I'm going to swing again. And that's definitely a hit. It's a 14 roll. So, yeah, I'm going to use my deadly attack, which means I just reroll any 1s or 2s. Not that that should matter. 22 damage.
Alright, you take one out. Because that one had some damage already. Okay. And then we're up to the Vargwheel again. There are 4 left. 1 for each of you. Ember. That's a miss. Kenthis. That's a miss.
Yeah.
And then against Heinrich. 20? Against
Miss.
DC?
Miss.
Okay, the last one will change tactics, and his jaw opens wide, and all the movement stops once again for a split moment as they scream. And that's going to be against Irina. Well, actually, it only affects up to 3 people, so Irina is not affected. So this would be against Ember instead. 24 against mental defense.
That's it.
Kenthis, 19 against mental defense.
Hit.
Oh, jeez. Mrs. Heinrich. And as 2 out of 4 of you are stunned, the figure sprints into action and closes in on your staggered ally.
Uh-oh.
And he says,
me.
I expected that you would be more of a challenge.
We're still a challenge. Go away.
Yeah. We're not
Come
done
back
yet.
later.
And he swings at you with
Aw.
his sword. 30 against armor class.
That's a
Miss.
40 damage.
How much?
40. 40.
40. Well, I am at -7.
Oh. That's our healer down.
Guys, I don't feel so.
And he chuckles and laughs and says, do yourselves a favor, go hide in the village with the rest of the cowards. And he, without cleaning his sword, just throws it over his shoulder and walks off into the woods. Just saunters away.
He makes a pretty good point.
All right, so there we are. Okay. Then that was after the Vargwheel go. Kenthis. This guy's
Can we
just
still
walking
see the
away,
figure?
and he just cut down your Inquisitor.
So, but he is walking away, right?
Yeah, he's just walking away. He's got nothing but contempt for you guys.
Sounds good for me. Sounds good. um,
See ya.
how many Vargwheel are left?
4 of them.
4 of them. All right. You know what? I'm gonna do something somewhat stupid. I'm gonna run after the man. Am I close enough that I can run up to him and hit him?
Oh yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna do the Elven Shadows, which, yeah. All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna run up to him and attack. 13 plus 7. 20 versus mental defense.
Okay, so what does the
And
spell
it's actually
do?
a ranged. It's actually a ranged spell. So
What does the spell do?
it does 8d6 damage, and if it was even, I'd be able to teleport to a nearby location, but it was not even.
Okay. You miss.
Okay. Oh well, on a miss, I get damage equal to my level. So.
Okay.
Um,
So,
so I maybe like walk up and maybe.
so
punch him
how
in the
does the
back.
spell manifest itself?
I'm imagining that it's like a sort of wave of arcane magic that you can't quite see, a distortion, because it's called Elven Shadows. So
Okay. This wave of compressed energy just
Yeah.
kind of washes over him, and his
except maybe in
long.
this case, maybe it's more just around my fist, and I just sort of go boom.
Okay. So this is something that you touch him with your hand to do.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You're right. It's ranged.
Okay.
So just a pitifully
So
small wave of
this
energy.
energy just kind of washes over him, and his hair just kind of waves forward a little bit. But he seems utterly unfazed by this and just keeps walking.
Just doesn't even notice.
At the end of the round, all of the remaining Vargwheel just all cackle in unison and start floating off after him into the woods as he continues further into the west.
Okay.
They sure showed us.
Ember, do you have first aid skills? Because I kind of do, but not really.
I would say I would have rudimentary first aid skills just from being a street fighter, and I could probably bandage him up and kind of maybe stabilize him, but that's about it.
Don't
Yeah,
you
I
have a
have
healing potion?
survived.
Yes.
No, I drank that like forever ago.
Okay.
Oh, damn it.
Don't you have a healing potion though?
Yeah, that's the one I drank.
Oh no. I mean, Bryant, doesn't Ember have one? Because I remember rolling for one for something and giving it to you. I don't know if you had used it or not.
I haven't used it. Let's see if I have it listed here.
If you haven't used it, then you have it.
Yes, I do still have it. As a matter of fact, I have not used that. So I'll pour that down Heinrich's neck.
Okay. Just a gaping wound right here.
Yeah, it's like rub a little in the wound. It can't hurt.
Like that pen trick when people can't breathe, just cut them open and pour it in.
He's still not breathing. I thought this would work.
Yeah, we got that in the
that's for the offline group.
what's his name's house.
All right, so you pour the potion down his throat. Did I tell you guys what the potion does?
I don't. So
I think it let me spend a recovery roll.
Yeah.
Plus 12 or something.
I thought it was just standard.
It really doesn't do much, but I'd be willing to go with that if I can't put my finger right on it.
Let's see, we're adventurer tier, so it's a recovery plus 1d8 at adventurer tier.
That's
Okay.
what it was.
So, go ahead and roll that.
Okay.
Anybody who is staggered must spend recoveries to at least bring them above even, above half. But I'm going to tell you right now, the poison prevents all natural healing until it is removed. So after you spend your first recovery, you realize this.
I'm not staggered,
So we remain staggered then?
Well, you have a magical potion.
Okay.
So whatever you get out of that, you roll your dice, you start at 0, and you add on to that.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I will say that any class abilities that allow you to use a recovery in the middle of combat is different, because that'll be like training, that'll be something, battlefield medic or ignoring your wounds or any number of other things. I'm only affecting recoveries spent with a short rest or a long rest.
So rally
natural healing in that sense.
How would rally fit into it? Is that that's in battle? So, but that's
rally is in battle. I would consider that natural healing, as that's not a class-specific issue.
Right.
But anything that grants you temporary or normal hit points in the course of battle that is a class-specific will be unaffected. Because
So what you're
that can
saying-
be described as magic or as morale or as shaking off the hit.
Gotcha.
So we need to go back to that lady and owe her another favor.
Well, I will leave that for you guys to decide during the next session, because we've hit our 2-hour mark. Normally, I wouldn't mind giving you guys a few extra minutes, but this seems to be a good place to stop.
Yep.
And it is getting late. And that's going to be the story with these later nights, thanks to school nights and everything else pushing things back a little bit. No, don't worry about it. I'd rather work around little things like that and still play than say, oh, nope, that's it. Only an hour and a half session this evening without,
Right.
a real good reason. So thank you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed tonight. I'm going to stop the broadcast and we can chat for a little bit after if you like.